Hello, good afternoon, good evening. You might be wondering, what's an appraisal? I'm here in Londonderry at an appraisal for a property I had have listed currently. It's under contract with the buyer. And at this point, we're at the appraisal point of the process. So what's an appraisal? It's an appraisal is the bank orders an appraisal to essentially see if their money is going to be good in this property, and see if the property, what it's under contract for, the price it's under contract for, is what the home is worth as compared to other homes in the area that are selling similar to it. The bank puts it out to a third-party service, and an appraiser picks it up when they get notified of the potential appraisal. So they're third party, disconnected from the bank, disconnected from the buyer, disconnected from the seller. Many years ago, you used to be able to call up an appraiser and say, hey, I need this done, and it would get done. Those days have gone away because of the issues in 2008-9. So you might be wondering, okay, well, as a seller, what do I do for an appraisal? What you do is I'll call you, I'll let you know, hey, the appraisal's on Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is, and just make sure your home's in presentable condition. You're probably moving at this point because it's about 20 days after it went under contract, and there's probably 2 weeks left until you move on to your next property. So make sure it's presentable. Make sure that everything is, in good, clean condition as best you can. Obviously, you're going to be moving. There'll probably be boxes packed. There'll be things that weren't there in the beginning that you've either put into storage or have moved on to sold or something on Facebook Marketplace. So I'll call you, let you know it's Tuesday. It's going to be presentable. Then leave the property. If you work from home, if you could leave, that would be ideal, but if not, no big deal. Obviously, people working from home, that can be a little difficult. The appraiser is going to go in and take some photos, take some measurements, going to verify that there's if it says tax card says 2-bed 1-bath, well, then it's a 2-bed 1-bath property. Maybe there's a half bath that wasn't accounted for in the public record, which will actually add more value to your home. Maybe you've got more finished square footage that's not noted on the public record. Well, that adds more value. And then the appraiser is going to go around the outside, which I think he's doing now. Again, take some measurements. Maybe you've got a nice upgraded composite deck outside that he's going to see, and that adds value. Things that are, if you've got upgrades in the last 5 years, those are always great to note in the listing when we go to list it, because those things add value from an appraisal standpoint as well. Then the appraiser is going to go back. He's going to write his report. We usually like to give it about 7 days until the appraisal gets back to the bank. The appraisal then goes back to the bank, and the buyer is then notified that the appraisal is good, it's bad, it's maybe subject to some sort of condition. Condition meaning, maybe there's some chipping paint that needs to be taken care of. Maybe there's a railing that needs to be taken care of until it's approved for that loan type. Taking some photos of the street and getting some more stuff for the appraisal report. So the appraisal report should come in 7 to 10 days. Again, on average, sometimes they're quicker, sometimes they're slower. Depends on the property, depends on how busy the market is at the time. I mean, over the last 2 years, we were seeing some pretty long appraisal reports coming in just because of how busy things were for everybody. Once the appraisal is, see ya, have a good day. Thank you. Once the appraisal comes back to the buyer, then that buyer's agent says, hey, Rich, appraisal looks good, or the appraisal doesn't look good, and we got to talk about that. Or the appraisal needs this, needs that. So that's how that works. And we don't typically get the value. They're not going to tell you, hey, it appraised for $75,000 less or more. That's report is really is actually confidential. And ask me how I know. I asked an appraiser how he came up with this value, and he's like, well, how do you know? I was shared the report, which apparently is not supposed to be done, but it happened. It is what it is. So that's kind of the lifeline of an appraisal and how it works. So from a buyer's standpoint, what do you do for the appraisal? Well, you pay for it, pay your bank, and then they'll order the appraisal, and then you wait. You don't really have too much to do in regards to the appraisal and getting that complete outside of paying for it and then waiting for that appraisal to come back. So from a seller's standpoint, it can be nerve-wracking. Like, oh, is it going to appraise? Especially over the last couple of years, is it going to appraise? They just gave me $70,000 more than I was asking for. Is that going to appraise? And that was a whole other story we can get into about paying over appraised value or that it has to appraise. That's probably a video for another time. So yeah, that's the how an appraisal works, what an appraisal is all about. There's a lot more depth and detail I could get into, but this is not supposed to be a half hour, an hour long. So yeah, appraisal today in Londonderry. Beautiful day today. And next going to be going to a buyer's presentation, just kind of give them the rundown on the buying process. Very important before you get into it to kind of know what's going on in the market, to know what you need to do to be a buyer, to be a strong buyer, to set yourself up for success. And that's what we're here for. That's what agents are for, because the market's shifting, the market's changing. What happened 2.5 months ago is a lot different than what's happening right now. What does that mean? Well, call me. We'll talk about it, what that means. You've got my info here. Leave a comment if you find this valuable. If you don't, leave that a comment. If you've got questions that you want me to answer or try to answer or get somebody in the business to answer, let me know. We'll get that for you. I want you to be informed. I want you to have all of the information you need to be a strongest buyer, strongest seller, strongest investor, whatever it might be, whatever your goals are. I want you to be successful. So let me know what I can do. Okay, that's it for now. We'll talk to you later.